Hello. Hello. Hello?
It's provocative.
Gets the people going?
Gets the people going.
Beep boop.
I don't know. I feel like most normies really look forward to Friday, right? Because it gives them like the only 2 days of their life that are even, livable. But like when you do what you love, Monday, baby. Woo! Monday, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Monday's a good day.
Gotta love a Monday. Markets are open, they're down a little bit. All I see is opportunity because I am decidedly bullish right now. I can't shake this bullish feeling. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna get killed, but I can't shake it.
I'm trying to see what's going on. I think the live viewer count is not right now. All good.
The show host with 0 watchers say to themselves,
Yeah, it was us all along. Just
"We're
you and me
shadow
talking,
banned, bro. We're shadow."
yeah. Well, no, I mean I can confirm that it's wrong because it says 0, but I do have a device watching it.
There are a lot of people you could describe as bitch in this world, but there is no more bitch person than somebody who complains that they are shadow banned. Yeah, bro, you're shadow banned on Twitter. Twitter gives a shit about you.
I don't know. Do people talk about that stuff every day, every morning, live on a
assholes do? Smooth brained morons. That's for sure.
Shadow banned, damn you, Elon. No, there are definitely people here, guys. Since I can't see who's here, say GM. Say GM. Say the words, damn it.
Now that Alana,
don't make me turn this show off. I have the power.
I am just going to go with the very subtle approach of retweeting anything Elon does with the one word king. I am so sick. I'll tell you, if there's 2 stories I never want to hear of ever again in my life, it is Elon Musk buying Twitter and Sam Bankman-Fried stealing $10 billion with Alameda and FTX. These 2 stories are like the horse that was beaten to death was dug up, turned into a zombie, brought back to life, beaten to death again, and now he has been brought back and we have to beat him down once more. This is never going to end. This is people are fucking upset. Twitter numbers are up. They had the highest amount of signups in years. People, Twitter's fucked. They're losing this. They're losing that. Go ahead, play into everyone's marketing. And all this, every exchange is going bankrupt. We have to get to the bottom of it. We can't let crypto fall to the scammers, all being hosted by the king of the fucking scammers, Mario Nawful. What in this is...
Oh, there you go.
It's all disgusting, and I'm just happy that the one thing we can look at are coins. Coins. They are telling you the story here. And the story here is 40% off the June panic lows. 40%. We are 40% higher than there on ETH. We are much...
Well, this is the biggest story, really. I mean, FTX is a huge story. It's all anybody's talking about. It's affected, 5 million people, billions of dollars. It's shit. It's a bad look for crypto. But we were talking about this before the show, and I kind of mentioned last week that all of this seems to be overshadowed by midterms and then a nice inflation print, stock market GoPro, all that good stuff. It's starting to touch people now. It's starting to have people, and I'm getting that you didn't have it, you weren't affected by that. Where no, I'm good. It's all good. So the normal everyday people are kind of talking about it and reaching out about it. And in entertaining the conversation with you that are expressing genuine interest in what's going on, I've just said, look, I gotta say, if I could go back 3 weeks ago, a month ago, you know, and we said this on the pre-show that we were talking about, you know, if we were just on this show shooting the shit, talking, joking around, price action, all this stuff, and I said, what do you think would happen if FTX just turned out to be insolvent and completely collapsed? Like, holy crap, like that'd be crazy, right? Like, what would your price prediction be? Because I would say Bitcoin, I would have said Bitcoin would be below 10K and ETH would be like, I don't know, I would just have guessed $500. And here we are. Now, you can say that, you know, the inflation coming down, peaking, coming off the highs, and, you know, risk on assets maybe coming back into the light would help, but it's not propping it up 40%. I don't know. Like, what do you think?
Well, I actually think a little, well, yes to what you're saying, but I look at it like this. The dollar being shot dead where it stands, and inflation now obviously having peaked back in, again, peaked doesn't mean gone, doesn't mean prices went back to normal, peaked. You are not the Fed. You are affected by grocery store prices. The Fed is forward thinking and trying to figure out what's going to happen so they could respond to it. That's what I've been screaming all summer, okay? It's the one reason I refused to go to Goblin Town. I understood the macro conditions and the technical conditions were set for a pullback. What I have been cautioning against is the idea that this is 2008, a systemic blowup. The system is broken. Everything's going to hell for 13 years. You know, whatever people wanted to turn it into, it was not that. It was very obvious starting in May and June. We didn't know till then. First 4 months of the year were very scary in the sense that we didn't know where inflation would peak. We didn't know how the Ukrainian war was going to. All of these things are going in a risk-on direction right now. It is good what is happening on all these fronts, okay? That is much more important to crypto than a $10 billion exchange going over. Normally, I'd say it's not to minimize it. Yes, this morning, I am here to minimize the FTX debacle. Why? It's been taken too far. This is not going to be a systemic crisis of trust that prevents the public from coming in. The public, the normies or whatever, if they haven't gotten into crypto yet, after all of the bull markets, after all the different metas, after all the, it's because they think it's a scam. They don't believe in it. They're not going to believe in it until the local
prices at all-time highs.
Okay, they think it's a fucking scam. Another article coming out saying crypto is a scam. It falls on deaf ears. They'll talk to you about it.
I'm gonna find this article. Did you? I don't know if you saw the one that I retweeted from the Onion.
No, I didn't.
Did you see that one floating around?
No. But the Onion's good at this.
The Onion is great. I mean, I mean, if you're easily offended, it will often push a lot of buttons. But I think we're all good here. Let me see if I can find it. This is the most I've used Twitter in the last month, but or in the last 2 years. But there it is. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up. Crypto confidence soars after CEO defrauds customers just like a real bank.
Hey.
But it's so true, because this is why the Onion is so brilliant, because they pull out like the best truths out of these ridiculous situations. And it's just like, congratulations, guys. Like, you are getting fucked in the same way that you've always been getting fucked.
And I said it on Friday. I made a tweet and I said, TradFi, traditional finance, is making fun of you today for something that they did in 2008, 2001, 1998, 1994, 1987, 1982, 1977, 1974, and so on and so on. This is nothing new.
Bro, you haven't watched Game of Thrones, have you?
I have not only watched Game of Thrones.
Oh, you have?
Dragons is like my favorite new show of the year.
Oh, okay. I gotta get caught up. The only reason I bring it up is because you're like Arya Stark with her list of names of people she wants to kill with those dates. You like just rattle them off. Like, it's just like you recite them every morning and every night before you go to bed. You're like 2008, 2001, 1998, 1994.
I do an abnormal amount of study on financial history. And why? Because nothing is new in market. You know, Jesse Livermore wrote a few books, and in one of his books, he talks about how nothing new is in the market because everything that happened in the 1800s, right? The crash of 1873, the panic of 1894, right? There, every few years, shit gets out of line, leverage gets too big, and people pay. It's human nature, and it's good. Once you understand the pattern, you don't get scared of bubbles. You run towards them as fast as possible because it's where money is made, right? This is the thing. And I'm telling you, a $10 billion exchange in a $1 trillion industry matters a lot less than the dollar. King dollar, US dollar, maybe finding a motherfucking Pico top, not a local top. We're talking a decade long, not generational, but a very, 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 very big top for the dollar.
Okay? Can you actually explain this for me? Because I hear local tops.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Hold on one second. Well, yeah. Okay. Explain what a Pico top is.
So Pico top refers to the end of a bull market, the end of
that package arriving here.
Actual reversal where going forward, rallies are sold versus dips being bought. So that's the Pico top. A local top is, as we know, nothing goes up or down in a straight line. So you have local tops and local bottoms along trends, right? You get to an area, you pull back. As long as the fundamentals are still in place and the technical trend isn't broken, you'd say it's a local top. Now, every Pico top came from a local top and vice versa, right? Like people, the term you've heard a lot this year has been bear market rally, because we've seen quite a few rallies this year, right? You had the rally earlier in the year where the S&P got all the way back up to 4,600. You had the June rally where we went from 36 to 4,300. And now we rallied 500 points off the 3,500 low we made after the hot CPI report in October. So bear market rally. But every bull market came from a bear market. Like eventually the bear market rally sticks and all of a sudden it's a bull market. Now, most people don't get that news until the local top. They buy that local top, they get killed, then the market resumes the march up. And this is the way of the world, and it's human nature, and it's how things work. It really is what we're seeing now. So that's the kind of the definition of Pico top. But I think what really came to light to me over the weekend, all right?
I missed it. Start over.
We always talk about price being king. And certainly when it was happening and the morning we came on and played the Titanic music, had you asked me, I would have thought we were going back to the June, at least to test them, at least to test the June lows, right? Well, ETH didn't even get within 20% and has already reversed. Now, it is not higher, and there is still a gap. Where were we? We were at about 1550 before this happened, and the few days before that, we had peaked at 1650, and it looked like an orderly pullback for the mean. It was like, oh, maybe we're just flagging here, and then the news hit, and everything fell off a cliff.
Yeah, we briefly broke 1600 last Monday.
1660, yeah, we got up to 1660. Now, I'm not ready to say bullish on crypto, the bid is back. What I will say is that gap will likely be closed before even a slim chance of making new lows. So I would expect ETH to hit 1550, 1600 before you even get a chance at new. Because again, it seems that everybody is getting uber bearish on something that already happened. The money was gone. He kept the lie going, sure, but the money had been lost, okay? That, in my opinion, is one of the things that's minimizing this. Also, maybe there's something we don't understand about the story that makes it not as bad as expected. Remember, markets are trying to price in the scenario that's coming, and if it priced in a $10 billion hole, and we find out, well, if this, and this happens, and they do this, and then this person, if it's only a $4 billion hole, Yes, it's still bad, but markets priced in something much worse, right? So this happens all the time. I suspect it is why FTT isn't it. Like, that's the one that makes no sense to me. Why isn't FTT literally 1 cent overnight? Like, I don't get how that is even remotely solvent, because you're not going to be paying the holders of FTT token if they recover any money. That money goes elsewhere. So I don't understand why it retains any value at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, when we watched Luna go down, it went down like to 0.0001.
It didn't stop. It didn't stop. It was a straight.
I don't have an answer for that other than like I feel like a lot of these trading pairs and stuff have been just blocked. Like, I don't know if there's anything you can do with FTT. Binance turned it off completely except for into Binance stablecoin. But if you can't get onto Binance, you can't do that. I just wonder how much of this has actually just been completely cut off, right?
Could be. Yeah, could be.
Yeah, that's my guess. But I want to bring back kind of a point that you made earlier, was that, you know, that narrative of like, oh yeah, crypto's a scam. Well, you know what? Anybody that bought up here or up here or up here or anywhere kind of in this range is probably feeling like it's a scam already anyways. Most people probably would have left already if they have. Like, I'm really curious as to how many people, not that this is affected because it's obviously a huge number, but how many people think that this happening to them was because of crypto, right? I think most of the people left in this space right now are very, very cognizant of the fact that this wasn't cryptocurrency's fault. This isn't a product of crypto. This is the product of somebody who did something really shitty, got themselves in a whole fuck ton of mess and couldn't get out of it and got exposed. And sure, there are a lot of people that are probably going to lose a lot of money from that, and I feel for them. But I'm just wondering how many people are left in this space that are affected by this are blaming crypto. And I don't think that number is very high. You don't see that sentiment on Twitter very much, right?
Yep.
I don't see a sentiment of like, this is all crypto's fault. This could have happened to you if you had your money in fucking, what was it, Bear Stearns?
Yes.
Right? Like, if you had money
in Bear Stearns,
Lehman, like all these, like, this happens in traditional markets. And it has happened. People's funds have gone to zero because someone fucked them. And that's what's happening here. I don't see a lot of people in this ecosystem right now that are saying anything other than this is SBF's fault.
So so again, who was changed or motivated by this? We know normies already thought it was a scam. We know everybody here is a degenerate gambler and not going anywhere. They're just waiting for the next exchange that looks Safu. What is there?
And that's what I was going to say is, okay, let's just say in a hypothetical scenario, all of a sudden, everybody that had crypto on FTX can now withdraw it 1-to-1, free. You can walk away. You can pull it out of crypto, put it into a self-custody wallet. It's all yours. You get it back. How many of them are racing to cash it out?
With macro conditions improving and the dollar dying and the S&P getting back above 4,000.
And the current participants, you know, the people who want it out have probably, by and large, been shaken out. There's always going to be a couple of people that are still bag holding. And I wouldn't even call it bag holding, because if you're in some of these good cryptos, you're very, very likely going to get back above all-time highs or whatever point. There were tons and tons of people that bought here when ETH was almost at $2,000 back in January 2018. By this point, there wasn't a single person that had bought crypto that was underwater to it. Right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or bought Ethereum, I should say.
Yes.
It goes back, but I'm just like, I'm trying to do this thought process in my head of like, if everybody could get it out, who's running, who's leaving? 10%, maybe. Does that even matter? Doubt it.
Like 10% are leaving. We just had the greatest marketing campaign for crypto ever that finally reached back into the mainstream, and you don't think this is going to make the number of users go up? Just wait till the first pump comes about. And again, negative publicity is just as good for crypto as good publicity. There is no bad news when it comes to crypto. People instinctually know this is an unregulated casino. And the moment the action gets good again, we're going to onboard a bunch of new people, a bunch of degenerates. We have another gigacycle coming,
and there's
regulation can't touch us.
And I'm going to air quote here. Normies do understand that, rich person does shitty thing is not crypto specific, right? Like,
I don't think
I shouldn't even say rich people. Like, there's lots of not wealthy people that do shitty things too. It's just that
I don't think anyone's going to dig enough on that. I think your average person will just take this as another crypto scam, but I don't think that does anything. It doesn't change anybody's minds. People who were there anyway. This is a nothing burger of magnificent proportions in regards to crypto price.
Yes,
it is a burger in many other ways.
Funds. Yeah.
That is not what we're analyzing on this show.
Well, I mean, so the not all in podcast, sorry, the Up Only podcast. I mean, they've been doing incredible numbers on the Twitch stream that they have and all that. They had the FTX employee. I mean, there are real people that are affected by this, and that guy's story was pretty tough. He also worked for was it Mt. Gox or Bitfinex or something? I don't know. He was just he was literally like, I cannot believe this is happening to me again, because like it wasn't his fault. But he was the director of communications for FTX, and I think it was while all of this started going down, he had basically wrote an email to SBF saying, like, I understand that this is going to be a difficult time. I'm going to stick with you guys to help, wade through the shit and keep comms going. But once, things start to settle down, I'm going to be out. And then I think within 12 hours, he had all his Slack, his email, everything was cut off from him. He had no access to anything other than what employees that he was still close with were telling him. So he was on this show, and like, he was literally talking about how last Monday, a week ago today, he had just deposited $750,000 into FTX. And then within 24 hours, I mean, it was basically just gone. But while they were doing this, this was on Friday, I think. Yeah, Friday. Yeah, right. Because it was after the show we did. All of the balances started going to zero on FTX. All of the crypto started moving. Data was being wiped. And like, it was just absolute mayhem. People were saying that in the midst of all of this, the FTX app on your phone was trying to push an update. Like, there was speculation that it was root access. Then obviously there was SBF was involved or suspected to be involved, and they were trying to just basically take the funds and run. It was said that he had programmed a backdoor into it so that he could move all of this stuff around without any alerts being triggered. There was the speculation that there were 3 different groups. One was a black hat group that was stealing funds. The other was a white hat group with a multi-sig that were trying to also rescue the funds while they were being stolen. And then there was the third that was FTX that was trying to get whatever was left into their own separate wallets. I mean, this stuff, if we ever know the full truth, and it's hard to know if we're going to, especially because the speculation is that they were wiping the servers and all of the account balances and don't know if there was backups there. They were basically just torching the house while they were trying to leave. All of this, I can guarantee you somebody is writing a movie or probably a show right now to try and cover.
No, not a movie or a show, my friend, but a very famous biographical author has been traveling with SBF.
The guy who did The Social Network and what's his name? He's already doing this.
Yeah. And he was deluged with emails yesterday from movie studios looking for the rights. Basically say, I read one yesterday, and the movie studio executive said, I know you haven't written anything yet, but obviously there is no time to waste. We are willing to buy the the rights from you right now.
Is it Michael Lewis?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. He hasn't written one word. The studios are like, we'll buy the rights from you right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, this guy is a king at writing not only great books that cover stuff, and you should read it. He wrote The Big Short too, right? The Big Short? He wrote The Big Short too, right?
Possibly, yeah.
Anyways. So talk about just falling into the right situations. But it's going to be of epic proportions. I loved all of the speculation about who's going to be playing who. I saw, actually, speaking of Arya Stark as a Catherine, I thought that was a great one, and Jonah Hill as SBF. I think that would make a great show. I would watch that for sure. Did you watch the Dropout, the Elizabeth Holmes Theranos story?
No.
Yeah, see that I got a lot of vibes of in parallel to this, and if you can get like a good 8-part series out of that, I'm gonna be.
He was back in the news yesterday.
Who?
Theranos. She prosecutors have recommended 15
years.
Yeah.
I know she was fighting the jail sentence, and she was there's a lot going on there.
That's gonna be tough because when the prosecutors can spin she hurt people medically by lying about. I mean, come on! Oh my god! I don't.
Well, she did though. Like it was.
I'm not. Of course, I'm saying.
You're.
Yeah.
There was somebody that had a false positive HIV. They thought they were had HIV.
Yeah,
they were living as though they had HIV, and they did not.
And I'm pretty sure the moment the criminal case is done, she's probably getting a class action lawsuit for everything she owns 100 times over. But like any smart criminal, I'm sure she's been hiding money for a long time. So.
Yeah, I mean, and there are some parallels in this story with Caroline from Alameda, in that
I just thought of the song that they play at the Red Sox. Sweet Caroline. Whoa. All right.
It's like one of the most popular sung songs in the world, and they play it at the Red Sox game. Is where you pull that
from? As a Yankee fan, I enjoy this very much. Now, the Yankees have nothing to say after what just happened in the playoffs. We hang our head in shame, and now we have to crawl at the feet of Aaron Judge, who put in a Hall of Fame season while barely swinging that wasn't on purpose. Hall of Fame season, barely swung the bat in the playoffs. Hey guys, you want me back for next year? You want to get to the playoffs next year? Come on.
So
I don't even blame it.
We just went from SBF to Aaron Judge in 3 minutes.
And think though, because I love Aaron Judge, and I don't blame him at all. Free market capitalist. Half the game of baseball is the game of capitalism, and you got to play that too. This is game theory on all levels. And the Yankees
comes full circle.
The Yankees fucked up. Who wouldn't have guessed Aaron Judge was going to put in a Hall of Fame season here or there? I mean, come on, pay the kid. Let him go to a contract year like that.
I can't wait till he goes to the Mets. I can't wait till he goes to the Mets. Well, speaking of Major League Baseball and FTX, if we want to pull this conversation back in, they, I'm sure, are going to be dropping the FTX sponsorships along with everybody else. Visa. I mean, I was trying to figure out what articles to pull up this morning to talk about, and I figured, we're just going to see where the conversation goes and takes us, because that's what normally happens anyways. But basically all of Decrypt, and I'll make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it, is just like Visa pulls plug on FTX, Binance removes FTX token except for with BUSD, a lot of regulation talk, FTX hottest topic in Bitcoin conference, F1 is pulling FTX. I mean, everybody is. FTX Arena is going to be renamed. I saw Bang Bros put in a bid for that. We'll see. I don't think that one's going to be the Bang Bros Arena, but we'll check it out. One hits close to home. Ontario Teachers Fund sunk $95 million into FTX. Sounds like a lot, but Ontario Teachers Fund pension plan is one of the biggest funds in the world. So that was a pretty small drop in the bucket for them, less than 0.05%. They'll be all right.
I'll tell you, man, people don't know. Like the real gig you want is the guy who gets to manage those funds, all right? Teachers funds, union funds, university endowments. That's, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's the easiest job in finance, and you get your little percentage on the largest fucking bank in the, oh my God. That's the one, man. You got to earn your way there. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how much I can't remember what it's called. Ontario Teachers Pension Plan has in total assets. I guess you could backwards reverse that, but it's an absolute massive one. They were actually in billions, which was that show on is it HBO? No.
Yeah. Well, the Harvard endowment is insane. I forget the exact size of just what the Harvard endowment is. And again, it's because they invested all the money they got in stocks, kids. So just, don't just put your money in the bank. You want to invest in risk assets because over time, $53.2 billion, the Harvard endowment, $53.2 billion.
That's what the Harvard endowment
one. Harvard endowment.
Yeah, I think the Ontario Teachers is bigger.
Oh, I'm sure it's boy.
I mean, I'm actually just curious as to know what the answer is to this. $221 billion Canadian. So that was in 2020. So that's like
40
billion.
40 million American.
Shut up.
Well, we briefly flipped the euro there. Boy, were we feeling like the kings.
Yeah.
Put that euro right up, but that's back at 103. Look, we want the euro. We want the euro at 120. That would be a good world. That'd be a world of $3,000 ETH, my friends.
The euro at 120?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not happening anytime soon, but that'd be a good thing for the world. Europe needs that. You got to understand. America is America. We are the center of innovation on planet Earth. The number 2, China, basically just steals everything we do with corporate espionage and copies it. There's nothing innovative. We are the center of innovation. Why? Diversification, immigration. That is why. Okay, we are the center of that. But when you take that and understand, Europe is the opposite. Okay, they are socialists. All right, they need the help. Were they to just be allowed to have a strong currency, they'd be out of business in a year and a half. They need a weak currency to entice us to buy their cheese and chocolate. Otherwise, they go back into the ice age. So we very much want the euro back at 120. I know it makes vacation slightly more expensive. Go now. This is your chance. Same thing with Japan. The yen ain't staying here for long. Go to that, go get some sushi. Get that A5 Wagyu.
Well, can we talk about SBF's Twitter thread yesterday?
Won't take long, sure.
I mean, so it's suspected, rumored, all but confirmed that he's in some kind of supervision or custody in the Bahamas. They were trying to get to Dubai. Apparently, Caroline is in Hong Kong and also trying to make her way to Dubai. There's a lot of speculation going on, and I mean, I can't personally confirm any of it. And you're hearing all these different stories.
I hope so.
Well, yeah, true. By the way, in an undisclosed location in the Bahamas, this is actually the backdrop of the FTX
Death Star. Convention. I knew you were in the Death Star. This is all making sense now.
But I guess if you were to believe that he is in some kind of custody, whether it's protected custody or from a legal standpoint or whatever. I don't know how he had access to Twitter, but yesterday he tweeted out what? And then to continue on the Twitter thread, about a half an hour later, he responded with 2 H. I mean, do we have any theories here? What's the working theory on what's going on here?
It's bizarre because if it is not SBF, what is the person getting at? If it is SBF, why did he not delete? If he was writing a thread, or if it was a mistake with a da-da-da, why didn't he delete them afterwards? Like, this is not the time to be cheeky. This is not the time. This is you.
Yeah.
And again, I don't, I am not trying to make moral judgments on anyone. I am looking at this from a legal standpoint. His lawyers must be angry right now, saying, "What are you doing? Do not be cheeky here."
Yeah, like he was about to tweet something and someone smacked the phone out of his hand and it sent tweet and then broke the phone and they can't get back into the Twitter account. Like,
there's a lot of
but so I would have thought, like, okay, like literally misclick. I don't know what happened there, or like maybe he was in the middle of making a tweet and he got raided. I have no idea. But this was after it was already suspected that he was in some form of custody. But then for a half an hour later to fire the thread back up and type H, like, I have no idea how this happens. It's the second tweet that is absolutely baffling to me. Like, even the first one, I could say, like, maybe it was just like a drug fueled, like, not, you know what I mean?
Why don't you delete it? Like, this isn't a jokey time for him.
I know.
He's not going to spin himself out of trouble in any way here. Like, you need to be pretty serious about your future and freedom, unless you're literally going to just, disappear and, like, be like
a comment on how this profile picture looks nothing like him.
Well, I mean, a lot of us use NFTs, so I just think it's very bizarre because it's very hard to explain. Like, if it's somebody else with his phone, what are they trying to say? Like, you could come up with any theory you want. Is it code to somebody he can't communicate with otherwise? Like, you can't explain it. Like, it's very bizarre, unless, like you said, there's a situation where his phone got taken away, but then didn't the H tweet come like minutes later?
No, like over 30 minutes later. It was like 30
minutes later.
32 minutes later. That is what I think everybody is being thrown off on, because the first one you could say, like, who knows? Maybe he got held up at gunpoint while he was about to write a Twitter thread. Like, or he dropped the phone. Like I said, he dropped the phone and accidentally sent it and it broke. I have no idea. But the fact that 30 minutes later it comes back with, like, very deliberately, 2, like, continuing this thought. Here's H.
I think this is
let me present to you H.
Let's put the evidence together. Who said he's in custody? Were these official Bahamian? Like, who has him in custody? Is he trying to make it look like he's being kidnapped?
It was rumored that he was seen with his father there. Like, his father flew down to go get him or something. And for a little bit of context, like, the Bahamas is, I guess, not a place you really want to mess around with. Like, Mario did a citizen's arrest. Yeah, maybe. I let me try and dig this up. I should have found that part of it at least before.
I mean, because as a confusion campaign, like,
true.
Remember, so here was, what sprung to my mind immediately? Do you remember when Donald Trump did this and, like, one night he tweeted out
Kofifi?
Well, there was Kofifi, but then there was also a time similar. He tweeted out like 3 words with no context, left it up all night. Like, it totally reminded me of Donald Trump. And when we think about what Donald Trump's motivations are for doing anything, right? It's always like spin doctor and marketing and how is, blah, 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 blah. This is very, very, this is just all weird shit. Like, it seems to me, I couldn't even tell you what the most plausible explanation is, but everyone's very confused by it. And I suppose magicians, their main thing is distraction, right? Like, you're trying to make someone look at your hand over here while you're hiding the ball with the other hand in your pocket. Misdirection, okay? Is this just part of a weird misdirection campaign that's supposed to make no sense, to keep everybody talking and confused and give some sort of cover for him to try to either disappear or who knows. Look, he has a ton of connections in government and the elite echelons of society. Now, we know that eventually you become untouchable, much like Bernie Madoff and his family, who, all their friends turned on. You always hear that type of thing. And this is obviously the level of ethics that were breached here makes basically everybody. Obviously, your parents will always, try to help you. Hopefully, his dad is saying, turn yourself in, tell everybody the truth, and that type of thing. But maybe it's part of a confusion campaign. I really don't know. It's
yeah,
all bizarre.
I mean, going back to like your thing, like of like maybe he was trying to signal somebody that he couldn't get a hold of. Like you would think if it was some kind of code, it would be a little less like red flaggy, like getting
right. Like,
you know what I mean? Just like
why would you make everyone alarmed? Because you could type something with code in
just
it.
type some random. Again, I'm so sorry with like a misspelling or something. Like I don't know. Like,
right.
I'm right now just on a side screen trying to scroll through BitBoy because as much as I don't always like him, I mean he was he kind of called this actually.
But this again, I think this is always the danger in moments like this, right? You have a flock that feels like they're leaderless, a flock who, people like to claim they don't want to be led. All right.
Be careful who we're electing leader right now.
Right. But look at everybody looking for somebody new to simp, right? Somebody new to be our savior. Who can we turn to for truth? I mean, it's nobody.
Is this a segue into Mario?
It makes me wildly bullish. No one has learned a damn thing, and that's all we can hope for on the next cycle. That everyone buys the utility coin, that everybody buys the roadmap, that all things are the same. I want a bunch of new L1s. Let's see Aptos go from $3 to $300 right now. That's what I want.
Well, our friend Cha One Biking, I don't know how you say that, is saying that he literally has the name Bankman-Fried. Compare him to Bernie Madoff, Anthony Weiner, truth in the name. Mario Knopfel.
Hey,
Marion Knopfel.
Yeah, and that guy. There was a guy with the last name Ponzi.
Love it.
Shit. Look.
Well, there's actually some working theories that sometimes your name can have a very big impact on the way that your life plays out. Actually.
Yeah, and I definitely spoke about how it was ironic that his name is Bankman, and
Sam Bankrun-Fried.
There you go. So.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about Mario? Do we care? Are we trying to sound the alarm?
I don't particularly care. The guy bought his spaces, got lucky when Elon jumped in, and now he is the Pied Piper of lost rats. No, he is the Pied Piper leading the rats with all the unsuspecting children following because they need a new...
I guess we don't have to, but I will just say this. Be careful with this guy. This is not the first time I've seen him. I've interacted with him in the past. You've met him. Take the information and all of that stuff from the spaces at will. This guy is a through and through marketer, and not much else.
And honestly, guess what? You would be making a mistake right now if you trusted what R2 and I said. Do not trust anybody.
Also fair, right? Because right now, you're right. Because right now, not to like devalue ourselves, honestly, we're two people talking our way through something that we don't have full facts on and all of that stuff. I would like to believe that right at this very moment, this show isn't being paid for by millionaires or billionaires. We're not making any money off of this.
So we will happily take anyone's money. Our
happily take it. Yeah, maybe
our DMs are very open.
Yeah.
Brought to you,
FTX.
FTX. Mario Knopfel.
Yeah. No. But
He offers us each 10 ETH a
well,
month.
well, right now, like, okay, so CZ is the hero of crypto, and I'm like, but again, put yourself back in the position that you were in a month ago, a year ago, even. Would you have believed that SBF was this person? And the answer is almost certainly no. We had some hindsight looking back because it was in February. We were talking about it, and you literally said on the show, "Who the fuck is Sam Bankman-Fried, and what the fuck is FTX? Like, where did this come from? How is this the third biggest exchange? Like, is this even a real thing?" And maybe in hindsight, that was one of the red flags, because you have like Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, coming out being like, look, I was led to believe that Alameda was just printing money and absolutely killing it. They're a market maker owned by the trading exchange. And that seems like a conflict of interest. It's not something we would ever do at Coinbase, but I guess good for them. But he basically just said, I know what numbers look like in this industry. I know, what kind of operating expenses and capital and inflows you have. And the amount of money that he was able to use and throw at things, frankly, didn't really make any sense. And I just had to believe that it was Alameda that was just crushing it and printing money. But I mean, when you rewind a little bit, and even what we were talking about, it was like, who are these people, and how? Well, it's becoming very clear that they were able to get to where they were is because they weren't playing by the rules, or maybe not even the rules, because they were in an unregulated market, but they weren't playing a very safe game, and they flew too close to the sun and got burned, right? But you have all of these accounts and reports coming out now of, Elon saying like, SBF reached out to me and wanted to put billions into the Twitter deal. Billions. He clearly didn't have that. I think it's starting to at least sort of add up as to how they got into a $10 million deficit, but I don't think or 10 billion, sorry. I don't think the whole story is there. I think they fucked up trading too. Like, I think something really bad happened in that. And you see these videos of Carolyn saying, oh, elementary school math. We don't use that much math. It's just some basic elementary school math. Maybe she was just trying to be cheeky or modest or whatever. But I mean, it's starting to all kind of make sense. Chamath basically told people that, when he wanted to put money into to FTX, that he had a few lists of things that he would like to see them do. And they basically told him to fuck off. Like, they didn't really seem to need money. I don't know. It's all I guess going back to my original point is that, in this space, with your money, with your crypto, you literally don't have to trust anyone. In the traditional markets, you kind of have to trust a bank. You kind of have to trust an exchange to have that money, to be solvent, to, when you go there and you want to take out $50,000 or something, that they're going to give it to you. You have to place some trust in these institutions.
Well, to an extent.
Crypto, you don't. Yeah. I know.
I'm just
saying, in this space, you don't have to actually trust anybody. And that's not even a bad thing. I'm not saying you have to be paranoid and have 18 locks on your door and booby trap your house and, have a thing that's going to light your computer on fire if, something happens. Like, I'm not saying that, but you don't have to. And should you trust CZ? Why should you trust CZ? What do you get out of having some kind of deep-seated trust in CZ being the hero of crypto?
And would I trust Binance? Not for a second. But Cha is asking about Coinbase. You have to understand, this is a regulated bank. As long as you're talking about 250K or less, you're fine on Coinbase. You can't lose any money. You're insured by the U.S. government. And that's
they're not labeled as a bank, by the way.
Well, they are FDIC insured.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay. So you are safe there up to $250,000. Now, I don't see any reason to keep large amounts of money on an exchange, just because why? If one of the beautiful things about crypto is, being your own custodian and self-custody, a lot goes into that. Okay.
FTX was safe if you didn't hold it on there. Right. Put the money in, pull it off.
Right. And that's
I use Quadriga. I use Quadriga as my first thing, but guess what? I never, apart from the first month when I was still learning and figuring things out, I didn't hold my crypto on Quadriga.
And that was just what I recommend people do, right? You use it as an onboard an on ramp and an off ramp, and you self custody it. But that said, you can keep up to 250K on Coinbase and not even worry. Now, my gut tells me they're not going to go out of business, and they keep money one for one in reserves because they're SEC regulated. So you would technically be safe with more. But after what happened, I don't feel comfortable recommending anybody for anything unless they are FDIC insured. Just use it as an on ramp or an off ramp, and self custody the money in a safe way. Now, if you are new to crypto, you better research what that is, because they will figure out ways to hack you. You are not automatically safe because of a hardware wallet, and you need to really understand what being your own bank means. I think it is so, when you think about what a bank offers you security wise, it's probably worth it to get its own computer for your wallet that only interacts with it for that reason of being your bank. You do nothing else on that computer. You don't surf on it. You don't download apps on it. It is your wallet. That device, whatever that device is your wallet and nothing else, and you treat it as that. I think that is the safest thing to do, and it is the future. But again, there's a bit of a learning curve. You can keep up to $250,000 on Coinbase without being worried about losing it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one that you kind of can trust to a higher degree than the other ones, it would be Coinbase for sure. And let's not discount the fact that Coinbase and Binance have survived multiple cycles. I mean, they would have been put to the test in 2018 with high amounts of withdrawals and withdrawals and having to fulfill them and all of that stuff. They've stood the test of time in regards to that as well, right? So, and that goes back to our point about FTX. I mean, they started in 2019, and then all of a sudden, within 2 years, they're being regarded as one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world. Like, there should be some pause for concern about how much you can trust them to survive this, especially after you see something like Terra Luna go down. All of these, all of these other funds and whatnot, just way over leveraged and mismanaging their money. Seeing the trajectory that FTX took has to be, a red flag. But again, this is all hindsight, right?
Binance seems safe, but I'm not betting my reputation on it.
No, but that's the thing. Unless you're trading on there and using their leverage and their margin and whatnot, like, you don't have to leave your crypto on there. And that's like, for short periods of time, you're probably okay, unless you happen to put it on FTX on Tuesday morning, and by Tuesday night it was gone. Like, that's just shit timing.
We talked about it last week. Have 2 bets on these platforms. One bet so you can make the bet, and then something behind it as an emergency in case something comes up, like, oh, you got to buy this coin now because it's about to da-da-da. Otherwise, you don't need any more than that. The moment you have those 2 bets on, you can put another 1 behind it, but why? You can literally get money there in seconds, under a minute usually. You can have money on these exchanges. What do there's no reason to keep it there as long as you understand the best practices and the risks of self-custody. There's no reason to ever keep it there.
Also being said, FTX was state-backed Ponzi scheme, IMO with paid crisis actors running the company. No one would trust those IRL to run a company, let alone one trading billions of dollars. I mean, I just can't get there, and I'm glad you put in IMO, because you are entitled to that opinion, and I'm not going to sit here and say I know the truth. But I mean, we've seen time and time again, lots of people be given lots of money and it goes to zero, right? We were just talking about Elizabeth Holmes, right? Theranos did a lot of the same stuff that happened here, and was given hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And she was young, and she, even when you watch interviews with her and stuff like that, there was something there. Like, I don't know what it was, and I try not to pass judgment. Like, being quirky or being strange is not like a crime or something that should be held against you. But there was definitely a grift going on there. And again, maybe that's a hindsight thing to say, but people raise lots of money when they're young, and propel these companies to just insane heights, every once in a while, one of them is going to turn out to just be an absolute fraud. It's kind of just the state of the market that we're in. No,
I think in retrospect, people will look back and realize this is why crypto is great, because you aren't forced to keep your money in a place like this. Period. End of sentence. This is the rails are there for you to never be a victim of this. Whereas in the traditional world, unless you're stuffing your money in your mattress, which has space limitations, you are at the whims of these institutions.
Correct. Yep. Cool. We solved crypto. It's over.
Let's do Middle East peace next.
Okay. Where do we start?
Israel.
Okay. I mean, I have some other articles and stuff pulled up. We can start talking about. I think we'll slowly start to move away from FTX. Although I'm sure some of this is going to end up.
Step in and bail out Bored Ape Yacht Club soon.
Well, yeah. I mean, I also had the crypto.com accidentally sending $400 million to the wrong address and then having to ask for it back, which they got it back.
It wasn't to fmc.eth. I can report that now.
Okay. Hypothetically,
you would never hear from me again. That would be even you would never hear from me again. I'd be
messaging you on like Monday morning, be like, "You ready for the show?" And you'd be like, "Free market, hello."
No, I would make 2 tweets. The first one would be what? The second one would be H, and you would never hear from me.
Yeah, okay. I saw that one coming from a mile away, but well played. No, I mean, okay, crypto.com sends you 400 million ETH. What you doing, bro? Just running
away? What am I supposed to do? Return it?
Well, apparently the 320,000 ETH that they sent, they got back 285,000 ETH. So, I mean, I think I would take the 40,000 ETH as a.
And I agree. That's what I would do too. I would return the majority of it because it takes most of the heat off of you.
Yeah, exactly. Like I gave most of it. We came to an agreement.
Right.
At least you wouldn't have to be running, right? I mean, 45, 50, 60
would
million
you have to be running? You haven't done anything illegal. I mean,
No. I mean, banks do this shit all the time. Accidentally deposit. I've seen that story dozens of times. Woman accidentally gets $40 million deposited in our bank account and then spends it.
Well, who was it that did it in Australia?
If $40 million showed up in my bank account, believe me, I'm not running to go buy a bunch of houses and cars. I'm gonna be like, I don't know what to do here.
Was it Bybit who sent a woman they were trying to bill her for $2,000 and they sent her $1 million or something? And
there was something crazy like that.
I wouldn't give it back if I was that lady either. Thank you. This is the other beauty of the blockchain. There is a ledger. It is public. You sent me the money. What? It's a mistake? That's not a legal excuse for me to hand you the money back.
I think it's also important to note that this is all coming out right now, but is not actually a new story. This happened back in October. So, I mean, there was some speculation that crypto.com was all of a sudden moving money and to be wary of them. Yeah, again, be wary of everybody. You don't have to trust these people. I think it's hilarious that like all of a sudden, like we're just such glutton for punishments that I did see a bunch of people on Twitter being like, remove everything you have from crypto.com and cash out. Let's see how solvent these motherfuckers are. Like, it was just like, let's just see how many of these things we can just take down all at once and really just put the pain down. I don't know. That was funny to me.
Well, while I'm not promoting a bank run, if you had more than 2 bets on any of these platforms, this 100%. Isn't about what just happened. This, I didn't know I should be saying it, but this has always been standard practice for me. I don't keep any money on leveraged exchange. Look, leverage exchanges are bookies. They are bucket shops. They are taking your bet. They are not buying and selling the underlying asset. They are taking your bet like a bookie. And they're going to force liquidations anytime they can because it clears most of the tickets. I am not keeping a lot of money in a business like that, period.
No need to. Fun story nonetheless. It's such a wild world, man. Like this is fun.
This was social engineering at its peak. This was a social engineering attack. The guy got everybody to love him, and that's the best currency in the world, right? If everybody loves you, you can get away with a lot for a long time. And AlphaMint retweeted a thread that posits, had he been able to keep it going another week, he may have gotten away with it completely. Everything would have turned around. Inflation is dead. Crypto goes back up next year, hides all the losses, right? We don't know. Total could be the truth. And you got all the people celebrating. Oh, thank God we caught him now, because if crypto had gone back up, he would have gotten away with it. You mean 5 million people wouldn't have been zeroed by this asshole? Oh, God forbid. God forbid.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. It's and here's where I mean we talked about this a lot before, was just like, do you want that domino to fall, or do you want him to get away with it? Or like, was the intent to ever get out of it, or was it just to, leverage the fuck out of this until like I don't know. Like you're never going to know what the inside motive was.
Here has been where I think both of us and all analytical people have been slightly confused, right? We have talked about coins not making new lows. Why? Now, I suspect
Bitcoin Magazine, by the way, that said SBF and FTX associates are currently being detained by authorities. So I don't know.
Who even knows what that means? It's
anyways,
wishy-washy, or whatever. What was I saying? What were we talking about?
The motives of like what they were actually trying to do there.
Yeah, I forgot my point. But we down with FTX.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were supposed to be done. I'm not saying FTX the words anymore. I guess let's talk about NFTs. What's this meant for NFTs? Not a lot of good stuff right now, but this is not a new narrative for us, right? When all of the attention is on coins and liquidations and all of that. I mean, the hyper volatile NFTs typically take a back seat and things go down for them. There's just not a lot of excitement. I don't see any. I was surprised how long it took me to see an SBF NFT collection pop up. Honestly, I think I saw one 3 or 4 days later. But also,
this is the worst possible news for NFTs. Okay, NFTs are the one truly decentralized area on ETH, right? Like, this is something that you are a custodian of in your wallet. There are no places that keep your NFTs as custody for you, at least not for the large masses of people. I've heard there's some high-end banks offering it now, which is interesting. Certainly a sign of the future for the mega millionaires and all. But this is the first place anybody who just got bankrupted by FTX is going for liquidity. We know that for a fact. Look at Deepak, who yesterday put up his 10,000 ETH, $10 million NFT collection up for sale. All right. And Bored Ape Yacht Club got murdered over the weekend. And I saw it across many collections, down a minimum of 20%. And, there's that old joke. You can go down 90% forever. And NFTs have taken a decidedly another leg down here, which when you think about where ETH is, means they are making new lows in USD across the board. So where the NFT market was laughing and celebrating at the coin guys over the weekend, well, guess where the coin guys are going for that easy liquidity right now? That is right to NFTs. Now, if you are a liquid baller and you believe in NFTs, bang those WETH offers out. Don't go pay what the floor is. Bang those WETH offers out there right now, 10 to 20% below where the floor even is. And you are seeing it happen. This is D-Day for NFTs in the short term. and we are seeing that play out. And there's unfortunately, no way to mince these words. I will say the one bright spot in NFTs over the weekend were ENS names. ENS names seeing a 30 to 50% rise across the board, except in the very, very high end e-liquid area, like the 999 Club, which, while it is 50% down from its high, sitting at a 17 ETH floor right now, only 6 of them go, and it's back at a 45 ETH floor. So this is a very e-liquid high end of the market. We saw the 5-digit go from 0.02 and a half to 0.04 and a half. We saw the 4-digit go from 1 to 1.6. And I talk about it. I've been pounding the table on it for a long time because I do think the next NFT cycle will be about real utility. You know, ENS doesn't feel very sexy because it's like, what's the roadmap? There's no pretty JPEG attached. How can I flex? You know, blah, 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 all that type of stuff. But these are the only NFT with true utility that's ever existed. And I do think it will define the next cycle. So I will say, in all the carnage, it was nice to see that one bright spot. Mind you, ENS names were off the highs. So but it does tell you where there is money flowing in NFTs. And I do think they're going to have their own little run here again, but it's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back with ENS, the real art blocks like bull market that I think we will see soon hasn't happened yet. So ENS, the one bright spot in NFTs I've seen. And then we got, I don't know, man. You got what's it called? KPM, not really drama, just everybody looking around and going, are all these projects the same thing all of a sudden? Did you see that meme floating?
KPR?
KPR, Ether, Valhalla, what was the 4th one there? They all are the same project and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know.
Could be. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see Valhalla mint this year. I know they were trying for the end of November, but I think that's...
I don't even know about Meme Land. Now, what the hell happened to Meme Land, Valhalla? It's... I think it's smart. It probably isn't the atmosphere to be minting into right now.
Well, and if you look in the, for instance, of like a Valhalla, like sure, maybe they could sell out or whatever, but they also are VC backed, right? So they've made their funding. If they're actually working on the product that they say they're working on, which I guess at this point you're just taking it for face value that they are. What's stopping them from doing so? We've said this a million times. This is a good time to just get to work and build some shit, right? Like, the .com bubble, some of the biggest companies in the world came out of the trough in that market, right? Like there's nothing stopping them from doing that. So I don't see why they would, but floors across the board. If you look at 30 days or the last 7 days, it's a lot of red, and it's the blue chips that are coming down too, right? These very, very high valued NFTs, especially. It's a great point. If you have funds locked up on FTX and now all of a sudden, you got fucking bills to pay or trips to go on or whatever, you're going to have to try and pay for it in some other way. You got to, hit the WETH offer on one of your Bored Apes. Decentraland down almost 95% in the last 30 days. Digidaigaku's gutter everything. What else? Supremint Pass is way down. Wish I'd sold that one. Bored Ape Kennel Club. That's the one. These were the ones I was looking for. So 3.7 ETH on Bored Apes, the Kennel Clubs. I saw other deeds were below 1 ETH now. Gonna look that up. Yeah, 0.95. WETH offers at 0.85. Like you could probably swing WETH offers. And you're right. Like if you're liquid right now, put a WETH offer in. Like if you want to buy another deed right now, put a WETH offer in for 0.86. I don't know if that's going to be a good price in a week, but you're going to have people that are just sell. They got to do it, right? They can't. the problem with these things is if you list, somebody else that needs to sell just as bad as you just undercuts you by 0.01, 0.02. And the people that are buying aren't necessarily shopping. They're just buying the floor, right? So Weth offer is absolutely the way to go. I'm sure there are a lot of people in this market that are making some really, really great flips or just great purchases off Weth offers. So Yuga exposure hasn't been this cheap in a while. ApeCoin also looking pretty low too.
I think they got another 50% to fall here.
NFTs or ApeCoin?
Yuga in general, all the Yuga stuff. Yeah.
So you think Bored Apes at 28 ETH, 30 ETH?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mutants at what? 8? What are mutants at right now? Oh, they dropped below 10, didn't they?
6. Yeah, mutants will be 5 or 6.
Ooh, mutants at 5. That'd be juicy. 10 right now, so yeah, 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Other deeds at 0.5. ApeCoin is at 288 right now, which is pretty low.
Buck, ApeCoin could go a little lower. I think $1 is where I would buy ApeCoin.
Yeah. I mean, I just, again, like if these are attention tokens, as you've always said, like who's even trying to market in this audience, right? Or in this atmosphere right now, right? Like
NFT marketing will pick up again in January. This is the perfect 2-month stretch for it to fall another 50%.
Yep. I agree with that. I mean, I'm not saying that I want it to, but it's, read the room, right? There's going to be some shake off after people, the FTX hangover, right? Because you're going to have the shock of it all happening. And then it's going to be, 2 weeks of just being glued to Twitter, everyone talking about it, these fucking botted spaces with 8 million people in them, just, it's going to get exhausting, and then there's going to be a hangover.
There hasn't been capitulation yet. I hate to say, I see way too many people with Bored Ape.
No, I don't mean capitulation, but I just mean like there's going to be an exhaustion, right? Like there's just people are going. And I would say in 2 weeks, I think things, unless there's more fireworks, which I'm not sure if there will be or not, but I think in 2 weeks, people are just going to be really quiet for a bit. Right?
I'm a buyer of all Yuga products when BAYC hits 30.
That's it?
That's the final word from me.
That's the tweet?
There it is.
There it is. Let that sink in.
And then I'm sure they go back up to 150, but yeah.
Well, okay, so I mean that's the thing, right? Like the good one,
little 5x. You buy it more because you could be in the club for relatively cheap at that point.
The club.
Mm-hmm. Look, standing room Eminem concert's worth something.
Is that where you're in Decentraland? In the metaverse?
Yeah, I would think it would be in their own metaverse, but who knows?
Or other side. Yeah, you're
I hear rumors I hear rumors of Animoca having incredible amounts of FTX exposure. What does that mean?
Ooh, really? I didn't hear that one.
I don't like to spread unsubstantiated rumors, though. I wouldn't be surprised to see A16 move in and suggest Yuga should buy Animoca and hire a bunch of out-of-work Facebook engineers to come in and...
Oh, yeah, Facebook. Big layoffs.
Yeah, and now there are rumors Amazon and Disney are next with the layoffs, and this is going to be the interesting, bull markets climb walls of worry. There's always shit to worry about, okay? And it's the same way on the way down. Bear markets slide down slides of hope, right? So there's always things to be hopeful for during the bear. And the one thing that people aren't going to be able to rectify are the job losses that are going to be mounting up while inflation continues to go down. You're going to have this overarching force of, yay, the Fed is going to take their foot off the brake. There's not going to be any more inflation. Yay. And then all these job losses eventually mount. And sometime around April or May of next year, it's going to, be reflected in risk assets once again.
Wait, what am I seeing in the DJ dojo? Did Yuga bought 10k TF?
I always thought they owned 10k TF.
No, that was Beeple. And they purchased 10k TF, and that was Drip call. Drip, are you watching this right now? I know sometimes you're in here. What did I miss? I don't know. Let me look it up. I mean, you guys know that I do love me some 10k TF. Yeah. Oh my god, it is fucking ripping.
What is?
10k TF. This was it's at a 0.5 floor right now. It was at 0.2 yesterday, 2 days ago. So what does that mean? I don't know. Whatever. Look it up. Just scrolling, man. Just scrolling. Oh yeah, there's a thing here. Huh. I don't know. I only have the shoes though. I should have bought some of the cheaper stuff. That's hindsight again. I don't know, man. What are you up to today? What do you got on the docket? Just chilling.
Yep. I will be hanging out and tripping the light fantastic.
What does that mean? You've said that before.
I don't know what it means. It's a phrase from the 70s, but I'm very bullish on gold. And I'm very bullish on coins, as I think they're going to close what I'll call the SBF gap. We broke down from 1550, so I will say 1550 before 1000. Because that's a good one, because it's 300 from here. And 1000 is about 250 down, so that's a pretty good... We got our range there. I say we're going to hit 1550 before 1000. We may never hit 1000. But as I say often, we are very data dependent now going forward. I do not know the future. I don't know how economic numbers are going to turn out. So far, they have turned out exactly how I have guessed here towards the later end of the year. And if that trend continues, I'm really going to press the bets I've talked about for weeks on this show and in Discord and on Substack. If the data changes, so will my attitude, but boy, S&P looks ripe right now, about to get above 4K. Coins, I think, are going to be very bullish. After a little shake and bake here, they already punished anyone who bought 1290 this morning. I am bullish. Bullish.
Yeah, 1250 on ETH, 16. Well, Bitcoin's the one that's really been down bad during this. There was unlike ETH, actually reached its yearly low.
My only speculation
also held up incredibly well the last kind of dip. So
yeah, my only speculation is that the people affected by FTX held more Bitcoin than ETH. I think ETH capitulated this summer, and Bitcoin hadn't.
Yeah.
So that's really what I think it was, and I will stand by my prediction that Bitcoin outperforms ETH over the next 6-month period. I also think a portfolio of Snapchat, Facebook, and Intel outperforms the S&P and every hedge fund on the street over the next 6 months. Snapchat already 58% higher than the FMC Discord entry a few weeks ago on that panic earnings capitulation flush. Boy, Snapchat can't stop it.
S&P trying to, well, I mean, I'm 10 minutes behind, breaking 4,000. I guess it did.
It did briefly.
Earlier today, pre-market, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to just see a sideways. Remember, last week was one of the most impressive weeks in stock market history. Okay. Market was up a lot.
You know what? You know what we never ended up talking about relatively in depth, and maybe this is like a good like end of the show conversation because I don't think it's what most people tune in to listen to. But what do the midterms mean for this going forward now? Because there were people that were expecting a red wave, and that didn't happen. As an outsider, as a Canadian looking in, what does all this mean to you?
I think that the midterms were a wash. It basically means gridlock in Washington, which is net good for markets because markets like to know what's going to happen. And even if it is a good thing that is supposed to happen, the unknown causes volatility, debate, and doubt. So markets are agnostic to what happened in the midterms. They don't expect it to mean anything changes. Therefore, it goes back to econ data being what's most important here. Had Republicans flipped the House or the Senate, we'd be talking about what are they going to do that's either positive or negative for the markets. And that discussion is not being had. It's basically like, all right, everything stays the same now. What are we going to look to for our signals? And that's why CPI trumped everything, because as we know, it is the Fed's main concern right now. When consumer prices will abate, I will argue they've already been fighting deflation for months now. The problem is they have been doing the opposite of what you need to do to fight deflation, which is lower rates. There are many reasons for that. And next year, we will feel the pain and repercussions of them having not stopped their campaign earlier, because whether they continued to tighten or not, that CPI report was going to come in where it was going to come in. They had already gone far enough. All it will provide is opportunity, because this year...
Do you think they continue to tighten, though, or need more data? Do we need to see that being a trend?
They will one more. They're going to do one more in December, likely 50, which, again, they've been doing 75. So if you zoom out from the minutia and just look at the forest for the trees, they're already slowing down. And now they're getting the headline data to support slowing down. So you're going to see talk from the dovish Fed governors about, hey, guys, we really need to chill now. We need to, at the very least, pause, even if we don't start to go the other way. So that's the talk that's going to dominate Fed debate now. And of course, when we have down days, when we do the 2 steps forward, the 1 step back, those 1 step back will be because some Fed governor said, oh, I don't care that inflation came in softly. There's always back and forth. But before, there was no debate. It was, we have to keep raising. We can't even think about stopping. We have no excuse to do so. Now there is excuse. That's why the market changed temperament. It has been obvious to those of us that watch every day, the market feels different. And that doesn't mean economically the US or the world is out of the woods. It means there is not enough time until the next bearish possibility for markets to just continue going down. So what that means is markets float up until then. And then we are very data dependent on that moment. Let's see what it brings.
I'm going to say it. I don't care that you broke your elbow.
I'm waiting for the punchline. I think that's the setup.
Yeah, there's like a Ligma joke. I don't know. I'm waiting in suspense.
I know. Either that or he's pulling a SBF.
Yeah.
Those 2 things, and he's already bounced. He's left.
He's in custody now.
Yes.
I was going to say something until I read that. Oh, I had been hearing... No, that was it. It was a Vine, my bad.
A Vine?
2H. Vine's coming back.
Vine, Cambo? Oh, boy. Okay, kids, for everybody listening, that was TikTok's daddy, was Vine. a bunch of people in China saw Vine and said, hey, we should do that. And then Twitter inexplicably shut down Vine because they were a bunch of headless morons.
Wait,
and then
Twitter
China
owned
said,
Vine?
hey, what? Yes.
Twitter owned Vine? Oh, I didn't know that.
And then shut it down.
Wow. What? I don't understand why everybody so outraged. Oh, Elon buying Twitter, blah blah blah. This company just fucking dropped the ball over and over again. You look at the last 10 years; they didn't return any value to their shareholders. It traded fucking sideways.
At this point, I just hope somebody smart and intelligible comes in, buys the company, and maybe sets it in a different direction. That could be too much to hope for, but maybe it could happen at this point.
Yeah. And hopefully they practice effective altruism at the same time.
I hope they
too soon.
Electric car.
I can feel the blood boiling in you.
Oh, I don't mind, just because I find effective altruism a scam. You know,
it's not effective altruism if you have to say it.
The most discriminated against minority is the individual.
Wait, say that again.
The most discriminated against minority is the individual, the person who will not get into a group and go along with whatever it is. Effective altruism is a group. It's a bunch of bullshit.
I don't believe in effective altruism, the group. I think that there's a concept there that works, but I don't think that you get to say it or use it as a marketing term. You don't get to be in interviews and say, I'm doing this to save the world.
Yes.
I think it just is more defined by your actions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you know who my PFP is today?
Pepe.
That's Pepe Livermore.
Pepe Livermore?
Pepe Livermore was the greatest investor of all time, and he made $100 million shorting the 1929 crash, which made him the richest person in the world at the time. Within 5 years of that point, they were broke and in debt to the tune of the poorest person in the world. They had the largest debt of anybody in the world at the time. So Pepe Livermore went from the richest person in the world to the poorest person in the world within a span of a few years. Still the greatest trader of all time. As we know, everybody's Achilles heel is also the thing that makes them great. So unfortunately for Pepe, he never figured out how to harness what made him great. But because he was so great at this one thing, people kept believing in him and giving him another chance. And he made money for people that knew when to exit and not press his bets. But Pepe didn't care about money. Pepe was all about the game. And he always said, money was just how you knew if you were right or not. He really only cared about whether his analysis led to the right outcome. In retrospect, many psychologists now believe he was autistic, or what we would call today autistic, which is why he saw things in markets other people could not. We don't really know. Shout out to Pepe Livermore.
Yeah, there's a really good. Oh, maybe it was you that was telling me about it. There's a really good book on him, right?
It is Pepe Livermore, Boy Plunger. Go Google it on Amazon.
Jesse Livermore.
Jesse Livermore, Boy Plunger. And that nickname comes from his times in the bucket shops. If you guys do not know what bucket shops were, they were akin to OTC, off-track betting, OTB, off-track betting, except it was with stocks. These were bookies who let you, quote unquote, buy and sell stocks. But in reality, you weren't buying stocks. You were buying a ticket that gave you the right to profit if the stock went in your direction a certain amount. They offered 10-to-1 leverage. So all you had to put down was a tenth of the price of a share to buy one share. And these bucket shops were run by organized crime. Arnold Rothstein, the most famous gangster in New York at the time, came up with bucket shops. And they were made illegal by 1907, but it is where Jesse Livermore got his nickname of Boy Plunger, because he was known to plunge down large amounts on bets. And he had to disguise himself often and switch bucket shops. Because remember, these were not upstanding organizations actually buying and selling stock. These were bookies, casinos. And we know casinos do not like winning customers. So if you start winning too much, they will stop taking your bets. And it created a limit for young Jesse. He got to a certain point where no bucket shops would take his business. And it forced him to Wall Street, where he promptly lost everything he had made in the bucket shops, because it is a completely different game when you're actually betting against the market and not just betting against the bucket shop. He realized that he was not beating the tape. He was not beating the market. He was beating the bookies. So he had to adjust his style. By 1929, and the ripe age of 50, he had amassed an amazingly large short position on the Dow Jones Industrial Average and in a lot of stocks in the Dow Jones, only to be rewarded by the 1929 stock market crash, turning him into the richest man in the world.
I want to read it.
Great book.
I have a serious issue with buying books and not reading them, though. This is supposed to be a really good one too. Maybe I'll read it. Maybe I'll start reading it today. American Kingpin. Have you heard of it?
Nope. Who's it about?
What's his name? Ross Ulbricht, the Silk Road guy.
Nice.
Wild story. So I'm excited to read this. I bought this quite a while ago, and then of course it's just been sitting behind me this whole time, so shame on me.
I have found it extremely ineffective to try to copy what great men did. But the benefit in reading about them, just like Jesse Livermore, you're not going to go in and copy how he traded, because first of all, he invented what we use today, things like moving averages. His big secret was the moving average, which we all have as a line on our chart nowadays.
That's elementary school math nowadays.
Right. No, and it really is elementary school math when you think about how you arrive at these things, but it was novel at the time, right? It's not that you draw specific techniques from people. You draw inspiration to think outside of the box, because all industries fall into funks. They fall into dogma. Whatever is the accepted dogma in an industry is wrong. If everybody is doing something, the return is very pedestrian. You have no chance at achieving greatness. The only people who will achieve greatness are those that think outside of the box and take risks. And that's a very easy statement and platitude for someone to express. But I've found when reading about great men throughout history, whether it's people like Warren Buffett or Jesse Livermore, or even people like Buddha or Jesus, it's not about taking what they say as a prescription and doing it exactly. It's about being inspired by their connection to oneness. And Jesse Livermore is a great read for that part. It's a bit tragic, his story. And again, it's interesting to call someone the greatest trader of all time who became rich and broke multiple, depending on how you define great, you could argue Jesse Livermore is one of the most failed characters in history, right? If great for you is making a bunch of money, keeping it and sailing off into the sunset, sure. But I think understanding that he wielded something so powerful, even he could not control it, but taking the essence or the soul of that greatness and understanding what it is, and it does make him, in my opinion, the greatest trader of all time. It's into, what is success? Like that, what are we trying? This is the interesting thought was Sam, right? What was he trying to do? He had all the money in the world. What did he want? Okay. People are saying effective altruism was a marketing gimmick. Really? Then what exactly was his end goal? He had more money than God. Once you get there and you can do anything and you have all the freedom in the world, you're motivated by something else. What was he motivated by?
Yeah, I think, well, again, I'm going to just go back to that tweet thread that he made where, he very clearly stated that this was a game between him and CZ, I guess, right? To my sparring partner. We all know that one. I think that this was a game he was trying to win, and whatever game that was, it was to be the richest.
And do you think that, well, the richest, but do you think that that game could work out for him had he lost everybody's money?
I'm sorry. Ask that again or rephrase.
I'm saying, so could he have won that game and become the greatest crypto person in the world and the king of crypto by losing everybody's money? Was he just trying to do it for the one article that said he beat CZ and he's the king, and then he didn't care if it all fell apart in a Ponzi? No, he wasn't trying to make a Ponzi. Come on.
Oh, no, I don't think he was trying to, but I think that deep-seated desire to be on the top. It's like the Game of Thrones, right? Like you either win or you die trying.
And why do we reward the guys that were successful at it when they all likely had the same type of exposure and the one bad article away from ruin as he did? Why do we reward them? How do we know that? You don't know how these guys got to the top? Well, we laud them. We laud them as the risk takers. The reason capitalism is good. The reason Western society is good. We laud them. And when someone fucks up, we demonize them.
Yeah, but I think you gotta consider whose money they're risking to do it, right?
How do we know? Everyone does it on OPM. Other people's money is the name of the game.
What do you
We
mean?
don't know. If you get away with it, no one's going to go check to whether you fudge the books or not.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's always an input of other people's money. I'm like, okay, let's just take Elon for instance, right? Made a good amount of money off of PayPal, selling it, making that exit. By and large, like his acquisition of Tesla, because he didn't start Tesla, and his founding of SpaceX and storage.
I'm going to warn you to pick a different example because this one's not going to go well for you. They have been riddled with accusations of accounting fraud, and arguably the only reason they've survived this long is the stock has gone up only.
Whose money?
Investors owning the stock. It was the meme boy moon stock.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, all right. Fair.
I'm not saying they've all done this. I'm saying it's impossible to tell. And had he made it another week and got
You're talking about investors' money on a stock market, on an exchange where it goes up. You're not talking about the solvency of having people not be able to withdraw their money from a platform that they're expected to use. I guess you could say all of these people were purchasing Teslas that weren't made yet, and if he wasn't able to deliver on it, then what happens? So,
unarguably lies. So much of the stuff he said in public has never come true. I mean, it is the problem here is that he got caught, and he's fucked now. But had he made it through the next week, CPI comes in soft, maybe nobody ever finds this out, and everyone's like, oh, well, he would have taken even bigger risks next time. Yeah. Probably, and guess what? What if they worked out? He'd be lauded as one of the greatest people of all time, and nobody would have ever known. And how many people are we doing that with right now? How many of these guys that are above reproach because they've never done any of this, how would you know? They never got caught.
I literally can't argue with that.
This is.
I mean, even if I could, like, you can't argue with that
a
because
witch
you don't
hunt.
know.
This
There's
is,
no.
This is a witch hunt. If you gave the kid $1.5 billion, I bet you he could make it back in 2 years. Oh wait, he did get $1.5 billion, didn't he?
You're just storming around your apartment now.
I am, yes. Can you tell? Is the voice?
Yeah, I can, because your voice kind of like gets really distant.
Walking around, I feel maniacal.
I'm getting you all fired up now, am I? You're like, this fucking idiot that I host the show with.
I bet you he's a good trader, and I bet you with $1.5 billion and nobody up his ass, he could make that money back.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think once you start to play with that kind of money, you're like, I mean, the Warren Buffett quote, you know, it's like, if I was only managing $1 million in assets, like, I'd be able to turn those returns too, but they're not playing the same game, right? I think maybe that's one of the things he misestimated, was just that, like, you have diminished returns once you start playing with a substantial portion of the market cap.
I think he knew that. I just think that that's why I'm so curious here. I want to know what fucked up. Could be something as simple as bad code in a market making algorithm.
Like, it's not simple to 5x a $2 billion bet. It's simple to 5x a $200 bet.
Yeah, again, market making is different though. Market making, and done properly, especially if you know the other side of the book, like they did.
But that's the question: how did they lose?
Right. This is the
they
crazy
own both sides of it.
This is the fun part of the story. We are all curious to see what they actually. I've said this like 3 times already, but that's one reason I suspect we're not down as much, because like the money was already lost, right? We could argue that ETH already fell to 888 because of whatever the hell happened here. Who knows what happened here, right? So I think this is what we're all waiting to see. And it looks like Sam is trying to burn everything as quick as possible so that we never find out. And whatever story he spins is the one that is the only one we have, whether we believe it or not.
Yeah. The exit, the fireworks. Oh God. Well, I don't know how much you want to keep talking.
Markets are weak right now, and if they get weaker, I may be buying the dip. I'm very I like lower price. It was weird because before, when you saw lower prices, you were like, shit, is this gonna snowball? Is this gonna? I like things on sale right now because I know where they're going. We'll leave everybody with that. We can do the wrap up.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I can't say that we will or won't talk about FTX next time, but I think we're starting to get to the end of
sex cult once, so I think we're doing pretty well.
You know what though? Like, okay, here's one thing I'm not here for. And again, they're not good people, but like, all of these like attacks on what Carolyn looks like, what SBF looks like. Okay, like, sure, they're shitty people. Make fun of them for it. I'm not saying like, oh, you're gonna hurt their feelings or whatever. But like, there's such irrelevant like attack vectors of like, okay, so a bunch of mid 20 somethings lived in a $200 million penthouse in the Bahamas and we're pulling in like $5 million fucking dollars a day. Like, you don't think that there's going to be drugs and some weird sex going on? I mean, like,
exact
really,
recipe for drugs and sex.
Like, exactly. Right. But like this, I mean, it's fun to talk about. Oh, it comes out like blah, 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 like all this stuff. But like, who cares what they look like? This is what we're talking about. That's all you have left.
The movie. Because you wouldn't have you can't guarantee the movie without the sex cult angle. You need the opulence for the movie, because as great as The Big Short is, it's boring for your average person. Whereas, this now, it's going to have Bahamas, beach, sex, drugs, everything. This is the whole package for a filmmaker.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like, it's not like I feel bad for them. Like, oh, you guys are so mean, making fun of them. Like, I don't really give a shit. But it's just that narrative and that whole story arc was like, it's fun as like a cherry on top of like, yeah, make the good movie and whatnot. But I mean, like, I don't care. Like, who cares?
Yes.
I mean, I would happily look like SBF if it meant like a fucking had a $16 billion net worth. I mean, I wouldn't try not to go down the path that he went down, but I mean, like, I don't care. Fuck it. Whatever.
Correct.
Are we done?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, on that note, guys, yeah, hour and 50 minutes into the show. Some good times. Appreciate everybody chatting on the side there. If you haven't liked the show already, just hit the like button. I'm going to say that I don't care, but I do. I actually really do. I don't get it. Just hit the like button. Nah, I don't care. Just fucking with you. We'll be
3 times a day. Why aren't more people liking this? I'm like, relax.
Yeah. No, I really don't. But I mean, I am happy that people are watching it. That number's gone up, and that's good. Good for the market. We are the market movers. When AM show number goes up, market goes up. There's a clear correlation, so tune in. Appreciate it. Cambo, I would bang Caroline for 1,000, knowing everything we know today. Okay.
I can't believe you repeated that comment on the air. We're gonna just steal that soundbite now. Boy, they sucker you right in with those comments.
Oh yeah, you're just gonna cut off the Cambo saying it part.
Yeah,
take it. I don't care.
I don't care. Go ahead. Make me famous.
Do it for free. All right. Anyways, let's wrap this up. We'll be back on Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. like we always are. This was episode 165 of the AlphaMint AM show with R2 Degen and Free Market Capitalist. Let's get the intro and move it to the outro. If you tuned in late, we was basically just FTX. We talked about some NFTs. Bored Apes down bad. Yuga down bad. Yuga acquiring 10 KTF apparently. That's pretty cool. We'll see what that means. Other than that, cool. You have yourself a lovely Monday. I hope everyone listening has a wonderful Monday. Happy Monday. Free market. Say the words.
Good luck at the tables, Degens.